All right. Hey, we live. Okay, guys. It is our first time sitting here with Mr. Prosper. Thank
Mr.
you,
Pollen?
thank you, Mr. Prosper, for agreeing to do this for the Asian community.
Yeah, no problem.
And guys, as you can see, this video is going to be in two languages. It's going to be in English and also in Creole. And most of the time, Mr. Prosper is a US citizen, born and raised in this country.
Yep.
He happens to be a high school teacher. Here, actual high school teacher. And then me, I used to be a high school teacher, and I am a retiree. And I used to teach math, special ed kids, and then a little bit of everything. And after I retired last year, right? And then while me and Mr. Prosper having a conversation, and then we decided to come up with this idea because we are going to do more in detail about it. So let me introduce myself. My name is Frantz Paulin, and Frantz Paulin, that's the name, Frantz Paulin. So I'm son qui sorti au Kai, Haiti. I'm going to Prosper. You do not understand mostly what I'm saying in English, but I'm going to translate for you
That's
soon.
okay.
But remember, this video is supposed to be in Creole.
No worries.
So I'm going to have to speak some Creole for my viewers.
Correct.
My target audience is my Asian kids. Our target audience is Asian kids because you two have some
Yeah, it's mostly
Asian kids in your
yes.
classes.
Correct.
And this is why, with your plea, you came to me and I said, why don't we do videos of what you are teaching
Exactly.
in Creole so you can.
Because I noticed in the high school that I learned English growing up. They didn't, and so it's harder for them to understand what I'm trying to explain, especially when all the tests and assessments are in English.
In English, yeah, that's true.
So I was like, I know how great of a teacher Mr. Poland is, and so I was like, if there's any way we can make some kind of resource that could help the Haitian community, especially young kids, that would be great. So
That's
right?
true. Yeah, I don't think I need to translate this for you because one of the things is that our primary focus is our Asian kids here.
Yeah.
And therefore, I am doing a great disservice to them if I were to translate in Creole everything that you are saying.
Okay.
We want them to learn the English.
True.
All right?
He's right. Yeah.
So my focus will be when we actually going to start doing the problems on the board, then you'll do it in English, and then I will come and then model it in Creole. So therefore, that will give them an idea in Creole what you just taught them in English.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what our primary intention is. And as I said, yeah, Prosper, you came to me, and then I said, okay, since I am a YouTuber already, I have several channels, and then I'm an educator. I already have all the tools.
And
Why not?
His expertise is in video production.
And video production. Yeah, we're going to go into that. So the first video that we're doing now, it is the introduction. So you want to go first, or you want me to introduce myself first?
All right, I'll go first. And
Okay, go ahead.
We'll save the best for last.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. My name is Theron Prosper, Mr. Prosper. This is my 4th year working with the DOE as a special ed teacher, but I've been working for the state for 11 years as a teacher, and with the Office of Mental Health. So I've had to work with a population of students who have tremendous difficulties when it comes to school. And because I did that for so long, I was thinking to myself, how could I effect more change? And that's when I was like, oh, it makes sense to go to the DOE, right?
That's
And
true.
help more populations of children. And so that's where I am now, 4th year teaching. So I'm still relatively new, but in terms of like being an educator, I've done it now for almost 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have been collaborating almost, 5 years?
5 years?
6 years, yeah.
It was even, right, before COVID, I believe.
Before COVID, yeah.
So yeah, it was a little while ago if you
Yeah.
think about it. Yeah.
Before COVID, and it is after that you decided to go. And matter of fact, Mr. Prosper has a master's degree in
Well, in
Math.
education now. No, in education.
In
now.
education, but
the focus of the classes were
it was math.
yeah.
Because I have seen you were taking some math
Yes, correct.
graduate. But me, guys, are you done
I mean,
with
that's
your introduction here? So were you born here or
okay. I was born in D.C., Washington D.C.
what?
But
First time I learned that. I've been knowing for 5 years.
Yeah, for 5 years.
And then now I know about now Washington D.C.
But I don't because that's why I only bring this up because many people think, oh, you're a New Yorker, you lived here most of your life. My mom is actually from Jamaica. My background is Caribbean, like Mr. Paulin. But I was born in DC, and shortly after that, my mom moved us and my sister to Jamaica, where I lived until I was 4 years old.
You be,
Yeah, I
you were
lived
living in
I
Jamaica?
was a little kid, like an infant, up until I was 4 years old.
Okay.
And then at 4, I moved to Brooklyn, New York. My mom moved back because, of course, back then, around the 80s, 90s, there was better opportunities in New York City for my mom. And so I've been in New York City ever since Brooklyn.
St. Brooklyn. Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
Since I was 4 years old. And then
Since
now, I might not look like it, but I'm almost 40.
Okay, almost 40. Okay, no, you still look young.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
my little brother, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, 40. So that's Mr. Prosper in a
That's
nutshell.
it. Yeah, yeah.
And you're working for New York City Board of Education
Correct.
now, and we're also working for the state of New York. We're working for the state of New York.
Correct.
All right. So me, guys, most of you, if you watch my videos, you already know my name is Frantz, and then I've been a YouTuber since 2006. And then I've been a teacher since 1996. And then I spent 27 years within Board of Ed, and I retired last year. That was
very
my
nice.
retirement, and you came to my retirement party.
That was a very good
Had
party.
a great time,
It's
yes.
a really good party.
So definitely, but as a retiree, I still kept my little gig on this side, which is the state of New York,
Yes.
where we also teach here,
Yeah.
but not as fully invested as we do with DOE. But we do also teach here when kids come here. And then, matter of fact, we teach kids from first grade even to college.
Even to college level, yes.
And this is where, when I used to be a teacher at DOE, my concentration was mostly like 6, 7, 8 graders.
Middle school.
Middle school, when I was teaching math. But when I was teaching in my field, which is video production and management, this is where I have my master's degree, I used to teach high school kids.
Oh.
But when I transitioned to teach math only, it was mostly 6, 7, and 8 graders. So my extent in math is from 6, 7, 8. It is when I came here and then mingle with you, dealing with you, and then when we have kids high school who's doing like algebra to
Yeah, geometry,
college kids,
calculus. We have
Calculus.
some kids, and he
Yeah.
actually started teaching himself calculus.
I have to teach
because he
myself
realized in
calculus.
order to also assist, right, the kids here, he would need to get to that level of math,
That's true.
mathematical education.
Yeah, to be able to
That's
assist
very
the kids.
impressive.
Yes, yes, yes. And then you are my inspiration too. Because, and you made it so easy for me. And this is why I said, why not collaborate with you? And then do some videos in Creole. Although we are speaking English, but do not be mistaken, guys. We are going to do into the Creole when we are actually doing the works. But since we want the kids that are watching us to be informed of what we are doing here, so therefore it is very crucial that we spend a little bit of time to lay out the foundation of what we are doing here.
And also who we are.
Oh, we
You
are,
want us
yeah.
to know who we are.
So because you are going to let us into your house, right? Your kids are going to watch us, and you don't want any type of individual to come and teach your
Correct.
kids. So we are teachers. So 27 years within Board of Ed. I have taught many diverse topics in math, Creole, English, even Spanish too.
I know
you
do
know.
some history sometimes.
Yeah, some history, yeah, and then some biology. And as long as you are a teacher, you're a teacher.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand? I may not be as good as you in math, but remember, being a math teacher, I'm self-taught too.
Yeah.
Because when I went to college, I stayed away from anything that has to do with science, including math. So
you're like math phobic.
yeah, I had math phobic because my first class in college was calculus 1,
Oh, wow.
and I had a D minus. And I went straight to the Bursat, and then this is when I became a art major.
Art major.
Because my major prior was like computer graphic, no, computer science. And computer science, you need math.
Yeah, you need a lot of
And at
math,
that time, we're doing like Pascal, COBOL, things like that.
Yeah.
So I said, nope, that's not for me. Then I took art. Then I went for geology, astronomy, philosophy, all those little nice things.
Yeah, liberal arts.
Yeah, liberal arts. And then I graduated in York College within a BA in art,
Very nice.
which is computer graphic and video production. Then I went to Brooklyn College. We are in same alma mater, alumni. Brooklyn College, a master degree into TV production and management. So
But what's so funny is that you can tell from his experience, like we both don't have like the traditional, like educational background. I started in after high school. I started at Cornell University, but then fell in love with a girl and stopped going. And so I had to go to BMCC, a community college. After that didn't work out, and then from the community college, I was able to then transfer to Columbia. So you can hear from both our stories that
Yeah.
we're not here to tell anyone that there's a right or true way to
no,
approach
there's
education.
no, that's not true.
There's no like it's whatever works for you. What we're here to tell you is that education is a must. Like no matter what kind of education you get, just make sure you're striving to be educated.
It is a must. And matter of fact, this is our poster behind our head here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Education is the passport to the future.
Yeah.
For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today.
Yeah.
Malcolm X. And this is why I am so insisting in doing this course in Creole. Guys, although I've been speaking English for the longest, but I'm going to transition to Creole pretty soon. Mm-hmm. But as a teacher, as I said to you earlier, I said that although we're going to do it in Creole, but we're going to do it in English because most of the kids that are watching, are going to watch those videos are kids here. Mm-hmm. It is not for kids in AED. If kids in AED wants to partake, that's okay. Yeah. But we're doing it mostly for Haitian kids here that are going to high school here and who have problem understanding the work because of a language barrier. And then my job is to facilitate that while you as a master teacher. And guys, I'm not a master teacher in math, okay? Because math, I taught myself math from 6th to 8th grade. And as I said to you, thanks to you, you made me love math now because I have been witnessing the way you've been teaching these kids here. And then that propels me to go and then taught myself calculus, you understand? And then now I am not as good as you, but I'm not that bad. You know? Because specifically there are books here, and then if you give me a books and you give me a model how you solve it, I can always will it. Because I have all the basic, all the required basics for me to solve anything. And this is what we are going to do in this class here. All right? So our job is to teach these kids some basic with context, right? We said that very earlier, with context.
Yeah, with context. As in, it's enough. I know nowadays a lot of kids, it doesn't seem as though they don't want to just know something just to know it. They want to know why they should know
That's
something.
true.
Like, how do they apply it? Yeah. So, like, I was explaining to Mr. Paulin from my experience as a high school teacher, I could tell a lot of kids don't know how to approach high school exams or tests, and it's because they don't understand what the questions are asking them.
That's true.
And this is doubly true when English is not their first language. So, like, part of us going through the math and let's just talking about numbers and just math in general, which to me is very fun. We're also going to usually try and end videos with literally trying to see a problem maybe from our regions or a problem that they'll see in high school and see how what we've talked about during that video would help me understand what the problem is asking.
I had the opportunity. Yesterday you sat down with Sierra. And Sierra came here and then we were talking about Roman numerals, right?
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I have the sheet next to me. And then when you explain Sierra 1, and if I were to go back here, you said to Sierra 1, right?
Yeah.
2. That's the Roman numeral that we're doing. 3. And then when we get to 4, it is very redundant to go there 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then this is why we know this is 5. And then if you just put 1 in front of it.
Yeah, I told her. I was like, well, what number is right? What number is in front of 5?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, 4.
And that will be 1 minus 4, 1 minus 5. And that's how we end up with 4. Because this is 5 and this is 1. Every time you put a number in front of it, it is a minus, right? And then you minus from this here. And then this is when you went and you said about 10. And then I never knew that. As a matter of fact, I learned it from you. When you said 10, which is an X.
Yeah, I asked her. I was like, well, how could this be 10 if this is 5?
It's 5.
And then she looked at it and she was like, oh, it's 2 V's.
2 V's, yeah. 1 V on top and 1 V in the bottom makes it 10. And guess what? With all my years teaching college, teaching high school, teaching math, I thought Roman numeral, but I never made that connection.
That connection?
And this is why, guys, it is very important. While we are teaching, we are not going to teach a bunch of math 1, 2. No, 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 no. We are going to teach with a concept.
Yeah, yeah. And teaching
Relatable.
Right? And teaching a way that while you're listening and thinking about it, it just makes sense, right?
It does
It's
make
not
sense.
us just telling you that you have to think this way. You look at it for yourself and you go, it only makes sense that way.
Yeah, it makes sense that way.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Why math is so important for everybody? Math is a subject, and I always tell people, math is a language. It is always true because it has vocabulary.
Yeah.
And one thing I always tell my kids when I used to teach math from 6th to 7th grade, I used to give them a bunch of vocabulary words for them to memorize and then associate those words with everyday current situations. You see, when I say product could be what? So many things, right?
Like products.
But in math, what is product in math? And then for the kids, and this is how I teach them. And then,
and he's right. This is very important because they assume
Yeah.
at the high school level that you already know this.
yeah, no, that is why. And this is one of the biggest mistakes we teachers we make when we assume the kids supposed to know something. And therefore, they just teach the material and they never went back and checked to see what are the level the kids came to you, because not everybody came to 10th, 11th, and 12th grade with the same level.
Correct.
You may have somebody in 12th grade and he has a 3rd and a 4th grade math level. And it is up to us to make sure we go back and then try to fill that gap
And meet the child, meet the
That's
student
right.
at that level.
at that level.
But that's again why we were trying to do these videos, because hopefully this will help bridge the gap or help you, anyone who's viewing, go raise in level or get to a level where if you see something, it makes sense to you now what they're asking, right?
Now, Prosper, the question I was asking you, what was the difficulties you encountered when you were teaching math in your high school, and then that propels you to come to me and ask for help?
Okay. Well, because what I have, right, a lot of my classes at the high school I go to is very predominantly like a big, heavy Haitian
Caribbean,
population.
Asian population?
Caribbean, yes,
But
but mostly Haitian.
Asians, yeah.
And so I know that I can hear them talking Creole, but at the same time I know that, and you explained this to me, no one like reads or writes Creole.
No, they don't.
And so on top of that, what you also told me is that if they did go to school, it was French.
That's true.
And even the number system in French is nothing like the number system in English.
Yes, true.
You know? And so it's very hard. I could see even just writing, I'll give an example. Like I'll say 7.5. Well, I'm gonna
Okay.
like here, right? In the US, right? In the US, we'll write 7.5, right? And then right, I guess in AAT, how I see it, they do.
They put a comma,
They put a
which is
comma.
so wrong.
And so mathematically, these are not the same things at all. At all. This means something completely different in algebra. And so this is why I realized I had to find a way that I can like get to them where it's not a bilingual school that I go to.
No, that's not bilingual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how could I even get to them if I'll never be able to master Creole to the level to explain
No,
it.
you want.
I wouldn't. And so this is why I was like, I would love this idea of like making a resource for these Haitian students.
That's true. And the resource
Where like something like this, they understand, we need to write it this way in the US, because the person grading their exams, they don't know that this means 7.5.
Well, even when we do divisions here too.
Show me.
For divisions like here, how do we say, if we say like, let's say 9 over 5, if we do in division, what do we do?
I would put the 9 in here.
9 here and the 5 here.
Yeah.
But in AED, I even forget, it's like 27 years. But I think in AED is something like this. If I don't recall.
Really?
Something like this, yeah. Because that was so long time ago. But we don't do division the same way that we do it in AED. So when you come here, you have to learn how we do it here.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
And why this is so difficult for some, because imagine you were existing in your head mentally one way to look at numbers a certain way.
Yeah.
And then one day it might have taken you to go from Haiti to the US, maybe longer, but then you automatically are told that you have to look at it this way.
Yes, that's true.
It's a lot. It's too much.
And but the thing is that although I know in Haiti we have a bunch of kids that came from Haiti who are good in math,
Yeah.
but most likely being good is like from memorization.
Yeah.
And if you were to stop them and ask them to show you or prove you why 1 plus 1 equals 2, they have no idea. They just keep repeating 1 plus 1 equals 2, but they cannot mathematically show you where 1 plus 1 equals 2. Like you were showing me with the Roman numeral that x, how it becomes
10.
But for us, we may have difficulties doing that. And then, when I started teaching in 1996, that was a long time ago, Prosper, my first job was to teach Creole.
You told me.
Right, to teach Creole, Clairbaton High School, yeah. My first job was to teach Creole. And then when they hired me, it was mostly to facilitate the kids that are taking yearly English as a second language. Guess what? They had no background in Creole where they know what is a verb, what is an adverb, what is an adjective. The grammar, they don't know it really. Because when they came here, they have no idea. So therefore, I had to teach them in Creole those things, the grammar in Creole, and then while I'm doing the Creole, and then transition to the English.
Wow.
Let's say if I say in Creole, "Moi reme," it is in English, "I love you."
Okay.
Now, if I tell to my kids, where's the verb?
In that phrase.
In that phrase, "Moi reme," they don't know really. And then when I say, okay, "moi," it is the personal, right? I.
The thing.
The thing is us, and then "reme" is the verb, right? Now, if I translate "I love you," I also is me, and then love, which is "reme," and that's the verb. And this is how I was able to correlate that. They saw the connections. Now they know what is an adverb, what is an adjective, what is a verb in Creole. So when they go to English, when they translate that in English, they automatically understood what is an adverb, what is a verb, things like that. And then I did make some good progress with them.
And like to that point, like I can tell from my experience with Asian students, they have something called seeing structure in algebra. So, like I'll give you an example of something like this. 4x plus, let me do something. Let's do 6x plus 9. All right, so seeing the structure, right? Like from your point of view, they might know that they might not understand that 3 separate things are being added.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? 3 separate things are being added. But like if they had a way of understanding that 1 plus 1 is 2 and then x plus 1 is 2, that means that x has to be 1. You know what I'm saying? But like if they get, like you just said, if you show them the structure from the basics, oh, I love you, right? And then you say it in your language, they'll realize, oh, everything has a logical,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A logical pattern.
And then so from here, then their hope, what they would hope is that, oh, now that I see this and I know there's 3 things, I can break it up into what? Right? 3 times 3 is 3, and 3 plus 3. This is like seeing the structure.
The structure, yeah.
You know what I'm
and
saying?
then this how you break it. And then if you see it that way, algebra is nothing more than seeing the structure, and then it's like a puzzle.
Exactly.
It's like how you to put it together, and then while you put it together, and then disassemble it. But that's what algebra is all about.
But to your same point, it's like language itself.
Yes, that's a language.
Like yeah, exactly. Like learning any language, it's like a puzzle. As in, like we communicate all the time. Right? Haitians communicate in Creole, but the way you're communicating, that logic of what you're trying to communicate, it's also there in math and it's also there in English. You just have to find
it. Yeah, and I guess that by doing this here, and I hope, guys, we are going to give you. I'm not saying that we are going to make you smart, but what I'm saying is that we are going to give you a new perspective or a new tools to see math from a different angle. You are watching somebody who had a math phobia. In 1996, I graduated in 1996. No, in 1994 I graduated. But I went to school and college in 1989, York College. And I had that phobia and I stayed away from math. Then I graduated in 1994, 1995, 1996. I got that job within both of it. And then guess what? To teach Creole. And you know the funny part? I went for my Creole license. I failed. And guess what? It was a white woman who interviewed me for the license because the old part I have to go.
Approve of this Creole license.
So when I was talking to her in Creole, what the fuck, imagine you, I was talking to somebody in Creole, and then she failed me. Why? Because my Creole had so many English words into it. Like, ma parle Creole, et puis ma dit, you know, et puis ma mette Creole ate. And then
know in it.
That's, I put you know, yes, while I am talking Creole. So I have a bunch of dyslexic words coming into me because it's like if I say 10 words in Creole, I bet you 7 of them are Creole, 3 of them are English. And then the lady say, Mr. Poland, Creole pas parler comme ça. Tout ça on dit on met anglais là-dedans. And then she felt me. Means that everything I said in Creole, I put some English word into it. The woman felt me.
But I know you explained to me as in that, of course, he's there talking to someone, and who Mr. Poland is, he always wants to make sure that you understand who he is.
That's true.
And so he probably saw this woman and was just like, I need to add some English to it in order to get my point across.
What the thing is that, you know what happened too? I don't know if you guys watching me experience the same thing too. It seems that when I'm talking to somebody, mentally speaking, I make a mental note. See, easy for me to speak English to you.
Yeah.
Because I know you have no other way of understanding me except English. But Mr. Prosper, if you were Asian sitting here, the Creole will have more priority coming out of my mouth. Even if I were to try to speak to you as Asian and English, you won't be sound the same. And this is why sometimes I struggle when I'm in front of a Asian audience, and I know you guys, you speak Creole, I'm not going to make any effort for me to speak English. Instantly speaking, the Creole just empowered my brain. And this probably, that's what happened to me back then. When I saw that white lady, and I know she's American, and she speaks English, why bother try to speak Creole while I know she's not native?
Yes,
but if she was Asian, probably I would have done a better job speaking Creole, expressing myself. You understand? And this is what happened. And that is why now, since we are saying that we are going to do these things in Creole, and I'm still kept focus on English, because my brain cannot release the Creole part of me.
To me, it's just a sign that he's really good at both languages.
I am.
And he can see the connections. And ultimately, we want the kids, when they watch this, anyone watching this, to make that same connection when it comes to the math.
Now, when we are going actually to do the math, when it is my turn now to speak in Creole, then I will teach in Creole. And then although I will also put some English word, because as I said earlier to you, I want them to get used
they have
to being taught in English. Because as I said, these sessions that we are doing here, it is not for Asian kids in Haiti. It is for Asian kids that are actually in the mainland here in the United States, that are in school in one of our high schools here, and that are struggling with the language barrier, and then we want to bring them some kind of a relief. So you as a master teacher in English and me become as a support teacher, then I will interconnect between English and Creole.
But we said this before, Mr. Paul and I, as in like, in the world of the business, no matter where you're from, English is what people are using.
That's true.
You don't even from people who don't come from an English-speaking country, when they meet amongst each other internationally, what's the language you're using? English. So I'm not saying you have to know English because you're in America. I'm saying to be about business, especially in a globalized world, you need knowing English and mastering English will make you better off in the future.
But you have to know English, because when you come to this country here, if you were to go for your citizenship test, they're not going to give it to you in French or in Creole or in Spanish. They are going to give it to you in English. So speaking, writing, and reading English is very important.
And again, this same, I know many people be like, it's so unfair or such a handicap. And it might be true, but if I, as an English-speaking American, went to Spain, I would be told I need to learn how to speak Spanish.
That's true, yes.
If I went to Haiti, I would need to learn Creole.
Otherwise, you won't be able to,
Yeah.
to converse it with these people. So now, let's give them a breakdown of what we are going to do here. This is the introduction. So I think you guys here have a pretty good idea of what both of us are trying to do here. All right? So in a sense is that, guys, we will make sure that moving forward, we will lay out the topic that we are going to talk about.
Okay.
Now we are going to focus on pre-algebra, right?
Yes. Because I could tell from my experience in high school that, like Mr. Paul said earlier, there are a lot of assumptions made about students when they come in. And a lot of that is that they hit these pre-algebra like topics when obviously a lot of the kids didn't. Or even mastery of your times table. A lot of kids nowadays don't know their times table. We're not going to go over that because that's before pre-algebra. But hopefully from the pre-algebra element, that would help you to easier to see the structure of the algebra, right? You mean like the patterns, right? Mr. Paul, you said like that's a big part of these videos. You wanted these, right, students, anyone who's paying attention, to be cognizant, to be aware of all the patterns you see, not just in math, but how they relate to also to life.
To life. And then that will be very important.
Yeah.
And then as I'm saying to you guys, in pre-algebra, we have like how many topics that we might cover in pre-algebra? 30 to 35 topics.
Yeah.
And when talking about topics, guys, we're going to start from the beginning. And pre-algebra, we're talking about numbers, right?
Types of numbers. Right?
Types of numbers, which is those things that when I went to school, I didn't even pay attention to them. Because I know 1 + 1 = 2, they forced me to learn my timetable. You know, they taught me how to do division, but they never...
Or like negative times negative is
the positive. They never sat me down and to teach me about real numbers, about natural numbers, about whole numbers. What is the difference between a whole numbers and a natural number or a real number, integers and rational numbers, irrational numbers. Those are the scope of the basics of the entire math system.
Because like the whole system is a number system. Like
the whole definitively
on numbers. So you don't even understand the beginning, like the things that you're using to do the math.
Yes.
How can you really be sure you're doing the math correctly?
All right. Now we are going to be in the season of regent.
True.
And you know, when you are in the United States, specifically when you are in New York, there is what we call the regent. The regent, it is when you are in school, and it is a final exam that you are taking. Not only final exam for your class, but it is the state that gives it, and then to make sure that if you are qualified or if whatever, all the material you've been sitting in class learning, if you can actually, is the mastery of it.
Yeah.
If you mastered those things.
And in Haiti, did they have like high school exams?
I left Haiti back then. They do have high school, but not. There is one final exam that you are going to take. It is when you are going for 12th grade to go to secondary school, and then when you are in Reto, Philo, and then they have a national exam that you take.
So there's
and
a
then
national exam.
National exam that you take, and then your name goes into the radio, and then everybody sat in front of the radio to hear their name.
Oh, wow.
But that is a long time. But I left the country since '87, and I don't know if it is still the same. You know, and then now with all the trouble that we are having in Haiti, I don't know.
Because it just seems like, especially nowadays, a lot of people are like, he's bringing up the regents. A lot of people in general, adults and kids, of course, are like, why do we need to have these exams? But it sounds as though they were always, I know in Jamaica, there was also high school exams. Like you had to show that you learned something. You had to show proof that of these 4 years that you were in school,
you mastered them.
You learned something.
That's true. And because otherwise it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Because the teacher could pass you and then therefore you don't know anything.
Correct.
And then we have proof, we have kids that actually graduate high school here, can barely read.
Yeah, they can
All right.
read. Yes.
And you wonder how that's happened. You understand? So that is why we say that we are going to do this here. So 30 to 35 topics that we are going to cover here, and it's going to be in both language, English and Creole. You taking care of the English part, and then me, I'm taking care of the Creole part. And then the way it's going to be, since Prosper it is a master teacher in math, I can never take credit because Prosper is actually is very good in math. So I don't mind you start the English version first,
Okay.
and then me, I'll come and translate. Because I can never be good as you in math.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think there's always room for improvement. I mean,
No, that's true.
you know.
You know, within all my years of teaching under my belt, and as I said you, when I saw you, I call you the Renaissance man. Because it's not only in math Mr. Prosper is good at. English, social study, even a little bit of Spanish. I saw you.
Yeah, I try. Yeah.
You try. And then biology, and then even physics and chemistry.
And chemistry. Yeah. I mean, that was a big part of our job with the state. You never knew what students would come in.
Yeah, that's true.
And how we would need to support them.
Yeah, physics and chemistry. And then that gives us like a little bit of jack of all trades.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of doing everything here. And then I am so grateful having this job here. It is not even for the money. It is for the experiences.
Yeah.
That every time I come here, and then you see kids come with different, even kids that were like in third grade. You remember once I had difficulties? I said, man, what's going on?
Yeah, like
everything changed.
Exactly, the way they teach.
The way they taught them, it is very strange. And I had to call you. I said, Prosper, I don't get it. Third grade.
I know. And then it took me a while too. And then I was like, we were all three of us,
Yeah.
the little kids,
Yeah,
were
yeah.
with us too. And we're like, I think they want you to do this.
Yes. We were doing this. And then we had to go back to school again. And then you're talking about third grade math. And then me and Mr. Prosper, we were sitting down trying to figure out what exactly they want. And then we could have taught that kid very easily.
Yeah, we could have easily gotten him the same
shortcut the answer.
Yeah.
But they want a certain way for us to show it. And then that's show you. And then
I guess that's why we wanted videos like this, because maybe part of the problem was that we're just so used at that young age to get the answer.
Yes.
And nowadays they want to push us to like understand it more.
Yes.
Right? Like, why is the X 10?
That's true.
Why? If the V is 5, why is the
X
X 10?
And then because when I went to school, it was forbidden to have calculator when you take math tests. But now they give these kids the math test with a calculator, even with the formula. Everything is in front of them. Because they are not interested if you remember things. They want to know exactly if you understand the concept.
Yeah, if you can apply.
Can you apply it?
Yeah, you're right.
And that's why it is now. And this is why back then it was paramount for us to learn our math, our multiplication table.
Yeah, because there was no calculator.
There's no calculator back then.
We had to do the calculations.
That's right. But nowadays, they say it's not important. Just give them a calculator as long as they can show.
Yeah. But see, to me, my whole thing, that's why we're starting with numbers. Sure, you have the calculator can do that for you, but if you don't see the patterns of the numbers,
that's true.
Then it's hard for you, for this example up on the board, it's hard for you to see that 3 times 3 is 9, and what? 3 plus 3
is 6.
If he and I can do that,
that's
because
right.
it was put into our head, times table, right? Adding my times table.
Yes. Anyway, kids, as I said, even if you do come here in this country, live in Haiti, and then you come to this country here, although in Haiti we have a different way of teaching you, there are some good things that they gave you back home. Memorization is also important. There are certain things you need to memorize. You still need to learn your timetable. It is very important. Because you never know. You could go somewhere else and they don't want you a calculator.
Correct.
Because if I am not mistaken, since I have not taught high school kids, when you are taking the regent, the first part, are you allowed with a calculator?
With the regions, yes. You can use a calculator throughout the whole regions.
Oh, yeah?
But to your point, the SATs, which you need to get into college, he's right. There's a part where no calculator, you can't use a calculator.
Yeah, the one that deals with mathematics, right? The one that where you need to use your knowledge. You are going to use a calculator when you are going to do the graphic. And it has to be a graphing calculator too. Right, the second part. But the first part, it has to be.
Yeah, if you don't know your timetable, I don't know.
If you don't know your timetable.
And every college, I would hope that lots of people watching this have gotten invigorated and passionate about learning more, and maybe not just stop at high school. It's great if you all graduate, but move on to higher education. Like he and I have master's degrees, but in order to get into college, you need good SAT scores.
You do.
And part of the SATs, like he just brought up, there's a part where there's no calculator. So you need, to your point, you need to like get better at doing these thinking mentally, the math mentally.
You have to do the math mentally. And it is what I say. So what do you hope, Mr. Prosper, at the end of our journey here? Because it seems that we are going to be doing this quite often here. And so far, we may be able to do it 3 days out of the week.
Okay.
And at night, around like 7 o'clock, we're going to be live. From 7:30, there may not be a specific time we are going to be live. We may be live at 7 or we may be live at 7:30. But we're going to make our best to go live. And then you guys, if you happen to stumble upon the channel and then you know any Asian kids that are your friends, please forward this link to them. Please share this, to make sure that we will post our schedule. Is not going to be, it's not in black and white. It's not going to be like something very in terms of final, because we're still experimenting, right?
Yeah.
So 7 o'clock, 7:30, we're going to start. So sometime we may start at 7:30 and sometime we may start at 7 o'clock.
Like today, we started a little early.
A little earlier,
like
because we were free a little earlier. And sometime, if we are not free a little earlier, if it is 7:30, even if it is for 30 minutes, we will come.
Yeah.
And then even if it is 1 or 2 problems that we have to solve, we will come in and do it, guys. Because the goal is to, guys, help you master the high school thing.
But I'm with Mr. Paula, as in the way that we were doing the pre-algebra and like the different areas and concepts. You should try and follow along from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
Like you could try jumping through it, and Mr. Paula, he will make sure that what's been recorded or videoed is available to watch. But try and follow along, and say if you come in towards the end of everything, like maybe later down the 10th video, try and start from the beginning.
Yes, start from beginning, and then go back to our video or to our live session, and I'm going to try to upload the video as well in our page, and then you can follow. And then when we upload them, we are going to put some PDF links and or some PDF example in terms for them to practice. Because every problem that we teach here, we want to put like at least up to 2 or 3 problems for you to practice on your own and make sure based on how you teach you if you can model it.
Exactly.
Because practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Am I right?
And it's not enough to like, maybe it makes sense to you when you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, you're like, oh, Paul and Prosper, yeah, they're right. That's exactly the way to look at it. But if you're not able to see a problem on your own and then come to the right answer, how do you know you're actually thinking about it the right way?
Yes, you don't know. And as I've said, guys, it's going to be a very nice, very fulfilling, rewarding adventure that we are going to embark. And I kind of encourage you guys to be part of what we are doing here.
I would want anyone to please
email us
comments or email, let us know. Maybe you have a different way of looking at it. I would love that. I'm always learning things new. Mr. Paula knows that.
Of course.
We just told them the story about the 3-year-old kid.
Yes.
We're willing to be wrong. Maybe if we said something wrong, you think we like this discussion, and he and I were always talking. So this is not just learning from us, but us learning from you.
And there's no one way to learn anyway, because
there's
math. Math. There's no one way. And then this is our approach, our way of doing things here. That necessarily is going to be the way, but it is one of them. And specifically, since we are going to be in both languages, and then 2 different backgrounds. My background is mostly in art. Your background is in math. So therefore, plus 2 different ethnicity, not ethnicity,
but like
from background and social, cultural, and everything.
Yeah, even generationally.
Yes.
He's
I am older, way older than Mr. Prosper. So therefore, as I said, Mr. Prosper could even be my son. Yes, because I know people have kids 17, 18, 19. Yeah. You could have been easily my son. So therefore, I have the utmost respect for this young man.
No, same to you,
very much respect for this young man. Yeah. Mr. Prosper, and a man of his word, and then is willing to come. His first time, Prosper, you are in front of the camera.
I've never done something like
first time, and then you live on YouTube. And matter of fact, we are live on YouTube. You are watching us, we are live on YouTube. Me, I am a pro. I've been live You know?
No, you've been doing this for
I've been doing this for a while,
Yeah.
you know, and then being in front of behind the camera. And then you did quite amazing, man.
Okay.
It isn't that bad.
Okay.
You know, so basically we are not going to stay here and then keep talking because this was an introduction.
Yeah, just to introduce
Yeah.
ourselves. Yeah.
And then
And also let them know what the plan is for these series of videos.
okay, now guys, let me translate a little bit in Creole what I was going to say here. Jean-moi, je suis très content le fait que je suis là pour moi capable de chiter avec Mr. Prosper pour nous faire une petite série ça. Son paquet de bonnes vidéos que nous pourrons faire en anglais et en créole. Et most likely, Mr. Prosper va commencer à enseigner en créole, en anglais. Et puis même ça que c'est en anglais, et puis même moi pour le translater en créole, je vais enseigner le tout selon la façon que je comprends, mais most likely, based on ça que Prosper s'est enseigné là. Monsieur Prosper est qui très très bon en mathématiques et monsieur a un master degree in education, but emphasis en mathématiques et que même moi j'ai enseigné mathématiques from 6th grade to 8th grade. We're talking about middle school. Mais Prosper maintenant c'est from 6th grade to high school. Et puis même collège tout parce que monsieur même enseigné calculus. And then en pile dans calculus là monsieur a enseigné élève collège qui viennent dans center et puis c'est dans même monsieur que m'apprend tout quel calculus problème comment que pour me solve. Et puis c'est à cause que j'aime moi que monsieur son effective teacher qui vient ben moi une sorte de goût pour mathématiques. Et puis un jour Prosper vient bon côté moi parce que monsieur a enseigné mathématiques dans high school boy c'est là. Grand pile élève qui est haïtien dans l'école là qui fait Minnesota en Haïti et qui a un problème comprendre ça Prosper a enseigné dans classe là. Et Prosper m'a demandé comment qu'il était capable de faire pour reach élève ça yo. Et c'est là ça que nous venons décider de faire vidéo ça yo en créole et puis c'est demandé si nous pas qu'à transcrire vidéo ça pour lire en créole pour élève ça. Même jouer Khan Academy fait. You know Khan Academy. Yeah, that's what Khan Academy started because he has his brother his cousin or his nephew that was in New York and he was in California because of the time difference and he made those videos and YouTube and then send it to.
And then, right, you told me you're the one who told me the story how his friends in college.
Yes,
now how great the videos are. Could he do more?
That's more, and that's what Khan Academy become now.
Like
what it is now.
$billion global thing.
That's true. So son bagay comme ça que n'a fait vidéo là, n'a fait au live. And live pour raison que c'est tout le monde qui voit nous là. N'a commencé mardi, mercredi, jeudi à partir de 7h du soir. Parfois 6h30, mais 7h, 7h30 du soir, et là, ça a commencé live là. Et puis, depuis nous, c'est nous 6 qui avec channel là, la voie nous pour faire connaître que nous live. And then, nous avons plusieurs topics. Le Pre-Algebra que nous allons commencer. Le Pre-Algebra topic que nous allons commencer, c'est topics such as
types of numbers.
Yeah, types of numbers, things like that. Nous avons un livre que nous follow, and then, bien que à cause de copyright, nous n'avons pas besoin de montrer le livre là, mais nous avons un livre. There's a book that we follow, and then there are so many other examples in YouTube, en Google que nous capables de follow. But nous avons un specific livre que nous follow pour nous capables de toute séquence easily. But nous avons plusieurs units, which is the 4 units that qui gain tout, qui gain tout, everything. For the pre-algebra, you know, from whole number, natural number,
like mathematical properties, right? Commutative property, distributive property,
associative,
and that's all like language based.
Language based, yeah. Plus integers like sign numbers, PEMDAS, you know, order of operation,
exponents.
That's right.
Properties of exponents, one-step equations, right?
Yeah. Yes, one-step equation, like variable, like things like this,
Exponent, what's the variable?
Those ratio.
Oh yeah.
Fractions.
Yes.
Fraction going to get people give a problem, and a lot of people have problem how to solve fractions.
And also radicals.
Radicals,
a lot of people don't know.
Oh yes, radicals. So those are the things that we are going to cover. Le pre-algebra, parce que nous voulons une sorte de base dans pre-algebra before que we transition to algebra 1. And then, si que tout bagay marche bien, que nous voyons que grand pile monde qui est intéressé, élève réellement get the best of it, then we might as well go to algebra 2. And why not finish the entire sequence?
Or even geometry.
Geometry, And then we do it. So guys, with your help, avec support nous et puis avec vos questions. And then I'm going to put my email address, you know, in the description pour nous capable email nous. And then second élève to get problem. If I was saying in Creole, I was going to tell them, if there's our kids that have problem with a particular problem, they can email it to us. And then while we are here teaching, we can also cover that problem for you and give you, and put it on the board, and then we teach that problem to you guys. So we'll do it in Creole for you. So gon problem en Creole, nous besoin, nous pas gen problem en Creole, nous gen doit texte moi problème nan. OK? Et puis même nan m'a enseigner li pour nous pendant que m'a fait quoi. Même si que le parlant, even though if it is not within the topic, we can always allocate it like 5-6 minutes to teach that problem for that particular student. So n'importe là nous-mêmes qui gagne un problème, que nous avons un problème avec lui, que nous avons besoin d'enseigner lui, voyez le bon moment. Même là que map teach. Even if we are teaching order of operation and you send us a problem about equations, we will allocate 5-10 minutes to teach you that particular problem, and then we go back.
And like what Mr. Paulin said earlier, practice is perfect. So the more we do the same topics, the more we do the same thing, it's not a negative thing. It's a benefit. It's a benefit.
Benefit, you know? Yeah. This is a benefit. So Mr. Prosper is a full-blown American, U.S. citizen. I'm a full-blown Haitian, become a U.S. citizen by naturalization. And as I said, guys, moi j'ai 27 ans depuis m'a enseigné dans New York City Board of Education and so retiree. So this is my way of giving back to my Haitian community. Je parle anglais mostly avec Prosper because at the beginning I wanted you guys to understand you are in the US of America. United States of America. Guess what, guys? It is very important que nous parlons anglais. Créole la m'a parlé là avec nous, c'est pour capable ba nous sorte de support to kind of support you until you guys become better at it. But do not make any mistakes. I want you to be able to learn in English what we are going to teach here. So that is why Monsieur Prosper pral enseigner en anglais avant. Et puis même m'a vinn en créole pour me capable renforcer ça que Monsieur Prosper enseigne en anglais pour nous même capable comprendre. Si que nous te gon petit doubt, là que l'enseigne en anglais, nous pas fin comprendre très bien, then créole moi vinn renforcer li. But the English, I want you guys to pay attention to it because when you go back to school, you are not going to be taught in Creole. You are going to be taught in English. So therefore, I want you to be exposed.
And in class, have a way to contribute and participate in English because now with these videos, you'll see the connection to the Creole.
Yes, you're going to see the connection to the Creole. So we are not going to stay longer for this session here. This is our first video. It is live. And then our subsequent videos is going to be, we're going way back to this year. So Prosper. So are we ready to shut down this segment here? Or is there anything that we have to do to start the second video?
No, I think that was, to leave off this one for the next one?
Yes.
All right, well, the next thing that we're definitely going to talk about, well, the first math video that we're going to do is definitely the types of numbers out there, right? Like right? Yeah, the types of numbers out there. And then Mr. Paul will be able to add the Creole in that, and we'll discuss how even the history behind how it is we came up with these numbers or why the certain English terms we use. Right? For these things, why we even have that.
I don't even know. So since you are the master teacher here, I'm going to learn from Mr. Prosper, and then hopefully when it is my time to translate that in Creole,
you can
then
say it in a way
I'll be able in a way for you to, and if I don't remember, I say, go back to what Prosper said. Okay, guys, it's truly a pleasure having this first session with you. Welcome to our class, Prosper and Pauline. Double P's, Mr. P's.
Mr. P's.
Mr. P's. Oh, that's a nice. I like that, Mr. P's. That could be our name of our channel, Mr. P's. Okay, and math. And it's not only math. And then later on, when we might transition to finance and even biology or other topics. But now we're doing math now, okay?
Economics would be fun too.
Economics. Oh, yeah, I am good at it.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that's very nice. Okay. Guys, as I said, don't be shy. Send the questions in math for now. Send the questions in. And then subscribe to the channel. And then send it to your friends. And then if you are an adult watching it and you have kids that are Asian, even if you are not Asian. Even if you are not Asian, it is good for you because mostly Prosper is going to teach in English anyway. And then the Creole will be after. So therefore, it is for everybody. but our primary focus for the Haitian kids. Thank you very much. It is truly a pleasure, guys, to be able to become again your teacher, because I thought that I was retiring and then I go back again to full-blown being a teacher. I can't wait, guys, to start my first class. Mr. Prosper, your last word.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Paulin.
Oh.
It is a great opportunity. I really hope that the people watching really benefit and take advantage of whatever information or knowledge we can impart to you.
Okay.
I've learned a lot from Mr. Paulin, and he has a very unique experience, and he's one of a kind person. So I feel like these videos will be very special and very productive.
Okay. All right, guys. So having said that, now I'm going to stop the live and then get ready now to do the first full-blown lesson, and which is the real numbers. Thank you, Prosper.